Losing stubborn body fat as a skinny fat guy is actually a bit of a nightmare, and I would probably say it's one of the hardest things to achieve. Being big, fat and round is relatively easy. You just eat less and move more. Everyone knows this, right? Anything you do at that point, you'll lose body fat. If you're absolutely skinny and you want to build muscle, you eat more and lift weight, and you'll probably get a decent bit of progress at the start at least. But going from skinny fat to losing the stubborn body fat whilst not shrinking and looking like a starved child, that's way more specific and way more challenging. And to be honest with you, most men don't really achieve that unless they're taking some form of performance enhancing drug. Now, over the past 6 years, I've been coaching well over 100 men to achieve this fat loss whilst keeping muscle, basically fixing the skinny fat physique, because I've had to deal with it. And it's very much a maze trying to figure out what to do specifically. You'll speak to the big guy in the gym and he'll tell you to avoid carbs and do this lift and that lift, and then the next guy will tell you that carbs are good but just track your calories, and then someone else is going to tell you, oh no, you got to go keto, mate, you got to do carnivore. There's just so much misinformation out there, whether they know it's misinformation or not. So the whole point of this video right here is to help you. If you're skinny fat and you're trying to lose body fat and keep muscle and potentially go on a bulk and gain size, but you still got that stubborn area around the chin, the chest, the lower back, the lower abs, then this video is for you, and it's this kind of information that I needed when I got started. Now I'm just going to put up a few transformation photos. I tend to do this every video, but just to give some sort of credibility to show that I'm not just some pleb who's been in the gym for 12 months and oh, I know everything now, mate, because that's what most people think, right? And I ain't gonna lie, when I first went to the gym, I did think I knew everything, and I didn't know anything. It took me 6 years of wasted time to figure that out. So all these clients here are people I've worked with one-to-one. They've managed to lose body fat, gain muscle, or at least retain their strength and muscle within anywhere between 11 weeks up to about a year, depending on the starting point, genetics, lifestyle, etc. So when it comes to actually achieving these kind of results, there's a few specifics we've got to bear in mind. Your absolute starting point. So if you're working with stubborn body fat, you've probably lost a little bit of weight, you've probably done a lot of cardio, maybe some gym classes, how to go on the machines, maybe you've worked with a PT before, maybe you followed some sort of downloaded workout plans online, maybe you've tried tracking your calories, and maybe you've just followed a few meal plans or whatever. Either way, you probably hit a wall, it's not working at the moment, or you're just not sure where to start or what's actually going to work for you specifically. So I'm going to break down the exact things that I do with my clients. I don't want to say, oh, this is the only way, mate, because, you know, there's many ways to skin a cat, especially when it comes to weight loss, but there are more optimal ways, and there are ways that are sort of more proven to work for more specific body types. So this is what I've done with my clients. Straight off the bat, and this is boring, but this is how it works. Track your damn calories. Now, yes, you can lose body fat without tracking your calories. Everyone knows that. Eat less, cool, done it. But if you're skinny fat and you're working to lose stubborn body fat, you need to be absolutely relentless or stubborn yourself to lose that. So your numbers need to be spot on. I'll give you an example. If your maintenance calories are 2,000 calories and you eat, say, 1,200 calories, that's an 800 calorie deficit, right? Brilliant. You'll probably lose pound and a half per week. But can you sustain that low calories for long enough for the stubborn body fat to shift, right? Most people can't. And if they do for a very long time, it's not particularly healthy. Your strength will drop, you know, your hormone levels might not be optimal, your sleep's probably crap, and you're going to be craving sugar, craving foods, and all it takes is, you know, a little loss of willpower after a long day of work, and you'll probably just cave in and eat all the crap in the cupboards or go out and have some drinks. And that's fine. You've got a life to live as well, right? So we need to make sure it's sustainable. So what I do with my clients, we aim for a smaller calorie deficit. This does two things. This means that you have more energy, it's easier to stick to, and there's more flexibility with your food and diet, so you can be a bit more social and, you know, fit those cravings around. If you've got a family dinner on Sunday, you can still go and enjoy it. But a smaller calorie deficit will help you reserve more muscle. The lower the calorie deficit, you'll still lose fat, but then you'll start to lose muscle tissue as well. Whereas, say, anywhere between 300 to a 500 calorie deficit, so what, 1,700, 1,500 calories, which is still pretty damn low, to be honest with you, you'll be able to eat more flexibly, like I mentioned, but you'll also be able to retain more strength and performance. And because those calories are going to be higher than usual, you'll be able to stick to it longer. When we're talking stubborn body fat, it's a bit slower to lose, right? The first 10 pounds, easy peasy, but the last 10 pounds will take so much longer than you think. And that's why most men never really get to that finish line, or they get close and then they kind of fall off, binge and go backwards, and then they start again and, oh, wait until New Year's, mate, 3 months, whatever. You get the point. You could probably relate to that. I've been in those shoes too. And when you're on a calorie deficit for a long time, you kind of lose interest, get bored and get distracted and think, oh, I'll go back on a bulk, mate. And you get stuck in this bro cycle of just doing cuts and bulks without actually finishing them properly. So a smaller calorie deficit is going to help you a lot. Better flexibility, better performance, better recovery, easier to stick to long term. And if you do mess up, there's still room for error. If you want some help with that, I do have a free nutritional blueprint in the description for you to work out those numbers. And again, if you get really stuck, you can just message me on Instagram, Elite Transformation Project, and I'll make sure your numbers are correct. Now, before I move on to the next point, Another thing that's very important to do here, and I do this with all my clients every single week, is they weigh themselves daily and they track their food daily. So every time we get to the end of the week, we can look at the patterns throughout the week, see how their body's reacting to the numbers they've got. And that just simply means that, one, we can make sure that what we're tracking is actually accurate. If you're hitting 1,800 calories and in reality you're forgetting the sauces and the butters and your cappuccinos, then it's very easy for you to actually be over that number without even realizing it and thinking you are. I've done this. I used to have Nando's sauce and I'd have eggs and I'd cook it with olive oil, and I didn't track the sauce or the olive oil, and I was 200, 300 calories off each day. So I wasn't really getting very far. So doing your weigh-ins can help you see the patterns, review the average weekly direction, and if it's coming down really fast, then you could probably eat some more. And if it's not budging, then you might need to adjust things or make sure that your numbers are correct. As you can see, stubborn body fat is not easy to lose. There's no, oh, just have this keto coffee, mate, or go carnivore, mate. There's all these trends that make it sound like a blanket statement to just fix everything easily because everyone wants easy, but I'm just telling you what works, what I've done, and the struggles that most people face. Now, with stubborn body fat, this is not, the only way, but this is what I find works really well and how most of my clients have done their transformations, and myself included. I managed to lose a lot of stubborn body fat, basically very little cardio, and that is lifting heavy weights. A little bit obvious, a little bit boring, but a lot of people, when they try and lose stubborn body fat, they think, right, CrossFit, cardio, gym classes, fat burn classes, how do I get my abs? So I do sit-ups. They kind of just jump to all the go-to typical things that are marketed to us because they're just easy to sell, right? You've got to give your body a reason to shift the stubborn body fat. So getting stronger is a great way to keep and potentially gain muscle, depending on how new you are to the gym. And if the body is made up of more lean mass, then it's easier for you to reduce the body fat percentage over time. So it kind of compounds. Whereas if you're not lifting heavy weights and you're not eating a good amount of protein and you're not, training with resistance predominantly, it's very likely you'll go catabolic and lose muscle tissue. And if you lose muscle tissue, it's very hard to shift stubborn body fat unless you just starve yourself. And that's why you see a lot of people, when they lose weight and they kind of look ill in the face, everyone's like, oh, bloody hell, you're doing too much, mate, you're doing too much. Because they are going crazy low on their calories and they're basically wasting away. Whereas if you want to be thick and full and keep muscle and lose stubborn body fat, so you can either look shredded or go back onto a bulk and keep the body fat to a minimum, you got to keep your strength, you got to keep the resistance workouts going. Again, I know I keep showing these transformations, but it's just a good example to lead to. I'll go with Reese, for example. This whole transformation was a calorie deficit. There was no bulking phase at this point in these photos. And this is exactly 12 months on the day, hence why we took the photo. He did say 10% cardio. And when I say cardio, I meant, he does a little bit of a hike on the weekend every now and again if he fancied it. But everything else was resistance workouts, just 3 days a week in the gym, no longer than 45 minutes. And we focused predominantly on getting stronger, working with compound movements with a few accessory movements. And then if he wanted to do any extra stuff like abs or hiking, whatever, he would go and do it. His calories were probably around 2,000. He was eating a lot of protein. It's really not that complicated, really, to be honest with you. But the industry's got to be exciting. Those muscle magazines, and one week it say, yeah, carbs are the devil, don't touch them, mate. And then the next week it'd be like, carbs, the secret hack to losing body fat. It's always just going to say something different to get you to buy the magazine to keep your interest. That's why all these people come out and go, carnivore. What's the new trend? Keto. Carbs are shit. Whatever, they just come out with things just to stay relevant, make it sound interesting. Whereas if everyone says, right, lift weights, calorie deficit, and lots of protein, guys, be consistent, see you later, it's boring. No one cares, right? That's why the industry is kind of full of crap, and that's why there's so many people on steroids and then they're making fucking supplements to sell you, and they're not. The supplements have just come out and they're like, yeah, I use this is I'm jacked. It's like, bro, this company existed a month ago. How the hell are you going to give them all the credit? It makes no sense. Bit of a side rant there, but again, that's why I'm making these videos to try and cut through the rubbish. And then the next point of losing stubborn body fat and keeping muscle is a little bit of cardio is good, right? And when I say that, I mean use it as the icing on the cake. I generally think for skinny fat guys to keep muscle and lose body fat, it's better to do more and eat more than it is to eat less and do less. And what I mean by that is if you're starting to hit that point when the scale weights are just not budging, the photos are looking the same, everything's not moving forward, and you need some help, and you're just not seeing the results that you want, then most people just drop the calories down, which sometimes can help. And I'm not saying that's the wrong thing to do, but I think it's much better to add some extra steps or do a little bit of extra cardio or change something with your workout routine to spend those extra 100, 200 calories per day. Because in that way, it's easier to stay on track with your diet. You're fueling your muscles. You're able to keep them a little bit easier, but you're still creating that next little bit of energy deficit to make sure you're still losing body fat. And that's why I said that I get all my clients to do their daily weigh-ins and we review everything weekly, because if they've hit a plateau or they've hit a wall because they've tracked their food and their weigh-ins and their workouts and their progress photos, we can go through all those things and make the adjustments needed so we're not scratching our heads going, oh, have you tried keto, mate? Why don't we just eat less? Stop having that pint of cider. You got to make it realistic and sustainable, and you got to know your numbers. And then a very important factor that most people don't talk about is time. Yes, you can achieve an amazing transformation in a few weeks, to be honest with you. Here's my client Leon, that was 11 weeks. Here's Matt, that's 12 weeks. Here's Ross, That's 12 weeks. Here's Brandon. I think that was like 9 weeks. And then, of course, most clients, it's going to take 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years if you're starting off right at the deep end. But that time only counts if you're consistently on track. Now, you're going to fall off here and there. You're going to have weak points. You don't need to be perfect. But a lot of people just go, right, I'm going to do this extreme crazy diet, and hopefully it works. And they do it for a week. The scales come down. They go, great. And then they go to Wetherspoons. They have too many pints. And then they start next week. And then, it's coming up to Christmas soon, mate. I'll wait until New Year's. And then New Year's comes out. I'm still a bit hungover from New Year's. Can't be bothered. I'll wait until February. Well, there's no point in February, mate, because I'm going on holiday in March. And it just repeats every single year. So you've got to be consistent. Time is not going to guarantee your results. Consistency over time with adjustments is the secret sauce, and it's boring and it's hard work, but that's the reality of it. And to be honest with you, I'm going to plug myself here. That's why I'm a coach, because people without the accountability, without the structure, without the consistent touch points, without the knowledge, without the direction, without the support, they generally just do not stick to it. Everyone kind of knows what to do to a degree. They just don't do it, and they put it off and they put it off and they put it off and they put it off, and then they run out of time, or they just fall off the mountain so much that trying to start climbing it again is way too difficult. And on that note, if that sounds like something you're struggling with or you need some help, you can always drop me a message at Elite Transformation Project on Instagram. In fact, I've even got a book a call link. Now, there might be time slots available. I'm not sure. It depends when you watch this. At this current time of filming, I have a couple spaces, but I might be full. Either way, drop me a message or you can book a call there and we can have a chat about your goals. And if I can help you out, I will. Anyway, good luck on your journey. I wish you all the best. And don't forget to like and subscribe, baby.